The former NBA star Gilbert Arenas was just recently arrested on some federal charges. Let's talk about it. All right, it says here, former NBA star Gilbert Arenas arrested in connection with an illegal high-stakes poker game. And I think that we all, most people, if you're in the sports world, you follow sports at all, you're familiar with Gilbert Arenas. Gilbert is a former NBA player who played 11 seasons in the NBA, most notably with the Wizards. He won all kind of shooting titles, prolific scorer, and I think after he retired, he became a popular podcast host. He has his own podcast. I think he was also being a basketball analyst on several sports networks or something to that effect. I'm not sure, but I know he's been pretty much visible in the public eye since his retirement. But well-known basketball player from the NBA, played 8 seasons. Nonetheless, the Department of Justice is now accusing Gilbert Arenas and a few other co-conspirators, as they call them, in some sort of high-stakes illegal gambling poker ring. And if you look here at the indictment, we pull up the indictment here, as you can see, the grand jury here in Central District of California, they have an indictment here against Gilbert and looks like 5 other people. Is that right? 5 or 6 other defendants here. And nonetheless, though, Gilbert in particular is being charged with conspiracy, operating a gambling business, and as well as making false statements. And I can tell you that these types of federal charges are not to be taken lightly, but like I always say, these are allegations. And it says that he is set to appear sometime this afternoon or maybe even sometime tomorrow. I don't know, but I'm sure, he's going to be arraigned. And I'm sure at such point, he'll be lawyered up and make his plea. But nonetheless, if you look here, he is being charged with conspiracy, as well as operating an illegal gambling ring, like I said earlier, and as well as making false statements. And as you can see here in the indictment, it starts off with the object of the conspiracy. And they give specific dates here, September 12, 2021, continuing all the way until July 2022. And that is going to be important because when you look at the actual statutes of what constitutes an illegal gambling stake center, those dates are going to be key. That's why they put these dates in here. And if you look at the conspiracy statute, just take a quick gander over here. 18 U.S.C. Code 371, conspiracy to commit an offense or defraud United States. And it says the definition of a conspiracy regarding this, it says if 2 or more people conspire either to commit any offense against the United States or to defraud the United States or any agency thereof in any manner or for any purpose, and 1 or more of such persons do any act to affect the object of the conspiracy, shall be fined under this title or imprisoned not more than 5 years or both. So that's the first charge here against Gilbert. And as you see here in the indictment, when they talked about the object of the conspiracy, they're speaking straight to the statute. They're saying that Gilbert, along with his other people that's being indicted here, that they set about between those aforementioned dates to decide to conspire, which means to agree, to come together and plan and agree and to effectuate this plan of operating an illegal gambling business, which is in direct violation of the United States Code and federal statutes. And then they go on to talk about the means and manner. If you look here, it says the object of the conspiracy was to be accomplished in substance as follows. Defendant Arenas would rent out his residence located on Gable Drive in Encino, California, for the purposes of hosting an illegal poker game, along with the other co-conspirators. And it says here that the other defendants at Arenas' direction would stage the games at his house and find other co-conspirators to host the actual games, and so on and so forth. You can, go have fun with that. Go pull up the actual indictment yourself, and they go list all these different things that they are alleging. Remember, I told you these are allegations, and I'm sure tomorrow or today, whenever he gets arraigned, he'll probably state his case, whether he's guilty or not guilty, and they'll go from there. But they're alleging that he did this, and then they go on, whenever you have conspiracy, you have to have overt acts, and they list, about 40, I think it's like 30 or 40 overt acts in this whole, in this entire indictment. Let me see here, 40, wow. Yes, about 45 of them. They list different overt acts. They have him with text messages and phone calls, and how they would hire different people to run it. And also that they're alleging that he would hire women to work it and serve drinks, and as well as also provide different services. And they would charge a fee for allegedly they would charge a fee to run this thing for people to come and to gamble. Now, what is the actual code here that they're charging him for besides the conspiracy? They're also charging Gilbert. It says that they're also charging Gilbert for one count of operating an illegal gambling business. And that is under code 18 U.S.C. 1955, prohibition of illegal gambling business. And it says here, whoever conducts, finances, manages, supervises, directs, or owns all or part of an illegal gambling business shall be fined under this title or imprisoned not more than 5 years. And what constitutes an illegal gambling business? Well, I'm glad you asked, because this statute further goes along to define it. And it says here, an illegal gambling business means a gambling business which is a violation of the law of a state or political subdivision of which it is conducted, and it involves 5 or more people or 5 or more persons who conduct, finance, manage, supervise, direct, or own all or part of such businesses, and has been and remains in substantially continuous operation for a period in excess of 30 days, or has a gross revenue of $2,000 a day. Now, I mentioned earlier too, when I told you about when they mentioned in the actual indictment that it went on for since September 12th to 2021 to all the way till July of 2022. They're doing it because they're trying to effectuate and let you know that it's been in excess of 30 days as per this statute here, that's an illegal gambling business. Also, it's important to note that it says here an illegal gambling business is also something that's a violation of any state law. Well, this is allegedly occurring in California, and California has its own state law regarding what an illegal gambling business is. And California Section 330 PC prohibits gambling by the use of banking or percentage of games. And if you look at the actual statute, it says California Penal Code 330 states that every person who deals, plays, or carries, or opens, or causes to be open, or conducts either as an owner or an employee, whether for hire or not, any games, and they list all these types of games where you have a banking or percentage of games played with cards, dice, or any device for money, checks, credit, or any other representative of value, and every person who plays or bets or against is prohibited of any of these prohibited games is guilty of a misdemeanor, shall be punishable by a fine. So the federal statute says if it's illegal on a state level or any political subdivision they're in, then it's going to be illegal on the federal level according to this federal statute. And finally, they also charge Gilbert with one count of, it says here, making a false statement to federal investigators. And as you can see here in the actual indictment. Defendant Arenas is being charged of violating 18 U.S.C. 1001A2. This is statements of entries, statements or entries generally. And it says A1, except as otherwise provided in this section, whoever in any manner within the jurisdiction of the executive, legislative, or judicial branch of the government of the United States knowingly and willfully falsifies, conceals, or covers up by any trick, scheme, or device a material fact or make any material false, fictitious, or fraudulent statements or representation. That's what they're being hit. And they go on here in the indictment that on or about September 9th of 2022 in Los Angeles County within the Central District, in a petition seeking the return of funds seized by Homeland Security investigations on or about July 20, 2022 from the master bedroom of a residence located in Gable Drive in Central California called the Gable House in a matter within the jurisdiction of the executive branch of the government of the United States, namely United States Customs and Border Protection. Defendant Gilbert Arenas, also known as Agent Zero, made the following materially false statements and misrepresentation to the United States Customs and Border Protection, knowing that this statement and representation was untrue. What are they alleging that he said was untrue? This says Defendant Arenas falsely stated that he was not involved in whatever was going on at a party, referring to the illegal gambling at the Gable House on July 19, 2022. In fact, as Defendant Arenas then knew, Defendant Arenas had knowingly provided gambling equipment at the Gable House to be used to host an illegal poker game on July 19, 2022, had knowingly rented out the Gable House to be used to host a illegal poker game on July 19, 2022, and was collecting rent from the host for operating the illegal poker game at the same house on the same date. These are the statements that they're alleging that he made. So he's facing these 3 counts, and as you can see, for each count, per the statute, he's facing a maximum of a fine and or imprisonment not more than 5 years. This is very serious. So like I said, he's due in court, I think today or this afternoon, or maybe sometime tomorrow morning, I'm not for sure, for his arraignment. But this is serious, and we're gonna follow this case. But you know, like I always tell you, again, these are allegations made by the Department of Justice and federal prosecutors. So now, when you get a chance, you look at this indictment, you tell me, this is breaking news, you tell me, what do you think? Do you think that that Gilbert and the other defendants here actually operated this house? Or do you think, you know what, nope, they just picking on him, and he's a businessman, he's doing things on the up and up, he has his podcast, he has a retired NBA career, he would never be involved in that? I don't know. You tell me what you think. This will be interesting. So I would love to hear your thoughts on this. And a lot of people are wondering, what's so wrong about playing poker? Well, you can play poker friendly, as the feds here are alleging, friendly games. But whenever you start to get into the high stakes of betting and running a poker house and charging and collecting rent, that's when you're going to run into problems according to the statutes, not only the statutes of the state of California, but most states have similar statutes, but not to mention you have this federal statute. And now the feds are coming down on Gilbert along with the other co-defendants. So you tell me what you think here. I would love to hear your thoughts. Like, comment, share, subscribe. It's your brother, Attorney Jeff.